This is Dream Power Radio, the place where your dreams turn into reality. Here is your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Hello, and welcome to Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network powered by Raven International. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, the Dream Coach. This is a show where we talk about dreams, both daytime and nighttime dreams, and how you can use them to make the internal shift to a life you love and rediscover the truth of who you really are. I want to talk about goals today. What is it that you really want? Do you want $1 million, a new car, a trip around the world? Would having those things make your dream life come true? Those are all worthy goals, and if I have to be honest, I wouldn't mind having those for myself. But have you ever encountered this situation? You've scrimped and you've saved in order to be able to afford that something you thought you wanted for a really long time. And then when you finally got around to buying it, found out that it didn't give you the happiness you thought you'd get from it. That situation is a lot more common than you think. And my guest, Dr. Dravon James, believes that if this has happened to you, it may be time to rethink your goals. Dravon is the founder of Everyday Peace, is an inspirational speaker, coach, and the author of Freedom is Your Birthright. And I'm happy to welcome her back for her third visit to Dream Power Radio. Welcome back, Dravon.
I mean, it is so good to be here. Thank you for having me for my third go round, and this will not be the last.
I am sure that as well, too. But today I want to focus on our goals. So would you say that limiting our goals and our wishes just to material things is not the way we should think about them?
Yes, and I got to agree with you that who wouldn't love a trip around the world or $1 million, right?
Exactly.
Those things are all worthy goals. And me, just like you, I would love to have those things in my life. And I do, they're not bad things to have. The issue, however, is when we don't turn the focus inward, right? And make self-awareness the primary goal. From there, we can have everything. We got to have that relationship.
So, Dravon, let's talk about how to actually get beyond just the idea of goals aren't just limited to material items, and that we should be able to find a way to dig a little bit deeper to discover what it is that we really want. So how do we discover our true desires?
Yeah, Debbie, I love that. You said goals are not just limited. I love the fact that you threw that word limited in there, because we think sometimes when we're asking for the $1 million or for the beachside home that we're asking for all of this, but we are in the universe, right? And is a limited portion of what we have access to. So the real goal behind that small external goal, no matter how big it seems, is to ask the why. What will this provide for me when I achieve this? What is it that I really want beyond just having the house? What part of this is going to open up? How is it going to change my life? How am I going to serve differently, right? Because it's really this whole journey is about service to one another, right? So how am I going to open up? And you'll find that it's not just the house. It's not just the $1 million. In fact, when you talk to people who have these things, they'll talk to you mostly about their life being service and how having these things has put them in a position to serve a larger population with whatever their gift is.
Mm-hmm. Well, that brings up a sort of bigger issue of we usually look to get material things because we think that they're going to make us happy. So how do you define true happiness?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, Debbie, because true happiness has to begin with self-awareness. It has to. And it has to end with self-acceptance and honoring. And of course, that doesn't mean that we don't desire to get better and learn more about ourselves along the pathway. Of course we do. But becoming self-aware, and this is not from a critical standpoint. This is not to say that, I condemn myself for this, like I'm not good enough in that. Look how I'm failing in that. Not for that. It's just to say, I see me. I see me. I am aware that I am. And then to accept myself as I am and to honor me as I am. That gives me, each and every one of us, the freedom to practice self-improvement, right? And that is where happiness really resides. That's how you can go have the $1 million home or the fabulous vacations around the world and have it not ruin you. Because we all know that there are people who have everything we think we want and they are still unhappy. Right?
Well, getting to that point of finding self-acceptance, self-love, self-awareness is often easier said than done. So how do you start to get there?
Oh, that's another great question. How do we become self-aware? What we do, first of all, is we honor our past, right? It was there. We know it. We've got the T-shirt to prove it, right? We honor part of ourselves, but we also have this intellect of knowing that we do not currently live in the past, and as far as I know, we can't change any of the past, right? We also honor our eventual tomorrow. We honor that. We're grateful for that coming of tomorrow. But as far as I know, neither of us can exist in the now and tomorrow. So we become very, very intelligent and we say that this moment, the moment that I'm in right now, this second right now, not 5 seconds from now, but this second, what am I grateful for in this moment right now? And we become ecstatically pleased with that, expressing so much gratitude about what we have in this moment, what we're doing in this moment, who we know in this moment, the impact we're having on the world in this moment. It makes us more self-aware, and guess what we find? Increasing our confidence, increasing our happiness in this moment.
Yeah, that is such an important concept to embrace because all of us, it now or any one time, or we're all of us tend to live our lives in the past. We go into the what might have been, or we're thinking about that someday. Oh, someday I'll do this, thinking about the future. And you're right, we don't think about living right now, living in the present. And you're right, when we do that, we can take stock and really learn to appreciate what we are and who we are at this moment. But another thought that often keeps us small and keeps us stuck from being the people we really truly hope to be are those thoughts in our heads that make us believe things like I don't deserve to be rich, or I'm not worthy for that, or even the idea of I'm afraid of what would happen if I did get what I want. So how do you get beyond those thoughts that are there to just keep us stuck and keep us in that negative way of thinking?
Debbie, that's our self-talk, right? And our self-talk, as you just alluded to, is the most important, most influential conversation we will ever have, is the story that we tell us about us. And unfortunately, a lot of that story deals with lack, right? I am not good enough means I lack this. I lack the integrity. I lack the know-how. I lack the skill set. I lack the personality. And that all comes from a place of fear. We've got to learn how to talk to that fear, because fear is there for a reason. We're not trying to get rid of it. It keeps us from getting into certain very dangerous situations. We've got to learn how to talk to that too. And that's part of self-awareness. I am afraid that I am not good enough. Okay, well, let's explore that. Right? Staying in that self-aware. When that fear starts to talk, we talk back. Right? We talk back. We analyze it. Have I never done anything before? Sure, yes, I have. Have I never been afraid before? Sure, yes, I have. Has the outcome always been bad? No, it hasn't. Can I point to any valuable lessons that I've learned from being afraid and doing it anyway? Yes, I have.
Yeah, and that is a very, very useful method for dealing with fear. But tell me, go into maybe a little bit more detail of what can you say when you're basically having this conversation with yourself, getting beyond that story to, discovering what it is? Because usually when you get down to something, there is something that is keeping you fearful.
Yeah. So, the brain is very primitive and very advanced, right? So the brain's job for a lot of us, for everybody, is to keep us safe, right? And so when we drill, and you're absolutely, when we drill down, we find that little girl or that little boy curled up in the corner and what their fears are. And it's not for us to go in there, like a lion and roar and drag them out. It's for us to sit in some understanding and shed a lot of awareness. And so the question is to tell me why, right? To tell me why. And just to sit. It's not for us to come up with the answer ourselves. It's to let that inner voice give us the answer. This is what's bothering me, right? At the end of, I'm afraid I'm not good enough. Why do you think you're not good enough? And waiting. Because at first you'll get, well, I'm just not good enough. No, I'd like to know why you think that, right? And then, have you ever been good at anything? But just asking the why questions. The what if, what would happen if you tried? Allows that the inner self, that little shy, the little scared person of whatever, it allows them to stand front and center. Again, for us just to acknowledge them. I call that shining the light of awareness. Once you shine the light of awareness on the situation, on the pain, we call the boogeyman when I was a kid, right? The things that are underneath the bed. And once you turn the light on, poof, it's gone, right? But we first have to acknowledge that I am afraid of this thing. What is it that you're afraid of? And giving yourself time, not feel like you got to rush to have the answer. That's another part of self-hatred, right? That if I don't have the answer today, I told you I'm not good enough, right? So I'll wait, you're important. And that self-talk, I'll wait, you're important. We'll have this dialogue maybe an hour from now. We'll try after dinner. We'll try in the morning. I'll wait, you're important. And once we get really accustomed to that type of self-love, that type of attention, that inner child, they call it the inner child, that inner child relaxes, whatever that is. We can deal with it.
And I think that point you make about giving yourself the time is also very valuable, because we live in this age of instant gratification. And I feel like, give me the solution, it's going to work with a snap of my fingers, or, give me the solution, tell me about it, and I will be cured immediately. And life doesn't really always work that way. But when you do take the time to do whatever it is, whether it's learning more about yourself or even any aspect of life, when you do take the time, you will get the answers you're seeking.
Think about that. I mean, who amongst us would think I'm starting a new relationship with someone, and every time I get with them, they're impatient with me. They tell me they don't have a lot of time, get to the point. Who would say that's a relationship I don't want to be in, right? We can't have that relationship with ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, let's get back to the idea of, setting goals. So if you were to say, hey, I want to be making more money than I'm making now, how would you frame that in a way that is self-beneficial and self-empowering?
Well, I'd start with an I am statement, because whatever it is you're speaking for, you have to speak that in it is your present being, right? Remember that old phrase we used to hear, fake it until you make it, sort of like that, but not really faking it. We're accepting it as our truth right now. I am grateful for this increase in money to the tune of whatever. If you know the exact amount, good. Because I do think if you can be specific in your goals, you can become more excited about them. And it is really the feeling of excitement, right, that draws that which does not exist in the physical world into the physical, right? So that I am in the gratitude and getting it about it. So bringing it right now to the now. So if I were looking for more money, I would say, I am grateful that I'm making, I don't know, $50,000 a month. It feels good. And then for a bonus, add on there, how are you going to be of service to someone? I don't care if you plan on buying a new car. You've served a lot of people when you buy a new car, right? The salesperson, the car industry, the person who owns the car lot, they pay mortgage and a lot of service. It's not just the car. You get in the car, you've helped a lot of people. So whatever it is, talk about I am, but grateful for whatever it is that you want, and how you getting that serves other people.
I love that you bring in the whole idea of gratitude. For me, that has been actually a lifesaver. Doing the practice of gratitude has just made my life so much richer, because I'm able now to appreciate things that I always took for granted, that were right in front of me, that I had blinders on and couldn't see. So talk to me a little bit more about the whole concept of gratitude.
Well, I would love to share with you my gratitude practice, and which I've been doing for years, which really will elevate your life and help you become more self-aware. And that is looking for something to be thankful for in every moment. So when I wake up first thing in the morning, I open my my drawer, bedside drawer, and I plug an index card and a writing utensil, and I write down first 3 things that I'm grateful for that happened yesterday. And that's my reflection on the past. That's how I do that. 3 things that I'm grateful for that happened yesterday. And then I set an intention by writing on the flip side of that card, 3 things that I'm thankful for that will happen today.
And just do that every day.
I put that card in my purse or my pocket, wherever I'm going for the day, because guess what I know? I've been living long enough to know that in this day, there will be challenges too, right? Which means there will be room and opportunity for growth. And sometimes in that moment, I'm so overwhelmed by what's happening in the external world and the impact that I think it's having on me. I can't think about gratitude, but I always know, pull that card out and start reading. I call it active gratitude because I forced myself to get excited because we have that control over ourselves, right? Fear and excitement are the same energy. We're just calling them differently, right? So I use that whatever fear or anxiety energy, and I use it when I read that gratitude card. And I shift the energy and I shift my perspective on things.
And I love that because I love things that are practical. And that's just such a practical solution because you're right. We go through the day and things will always come up that we don't like, frustrations or arguments, whatever it is, something that could be put into the negative category. But if you can go reach into your pocket or reach into your purse and look at that card, it reminds you there is more than those awful things.
Right. Because we get so sucked in it. The flesh is so, we get so sucked into whatever this tragedy of the moment, right? It's of the moment, right? And then we can force ourselves into, oh yeah, this can happen because it's happening and I can still be okay. I can still be happy, meaning I can still be self-aware. I can still accept myself. I can still honor myself. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be fed up and frustrated. No, that's part of the human experience. You are allowed. I am allowed to have. But we're not going to stay there. That's going to flow right through us. And then we're going to go back to a more steady state, a more productive energy source. And that is gratitude. That's how I use gratitude.
Which is wonderful and a wonderful way to end this segment. We're going to take a break now. We are speaking with Dr. Dravon James all about productive goal setting, and we'll be right back. When is a car not a car? When it shows up in your dreams. Cars are one of the most common dream symbols. If you don't know why you're dreaming about cars or any image, it can leave you confused or scared. But that dream could be a solution to a pressing problem, or an insight into a solution that's been bugging you for years. Go to my website and sign up for a complimentary discovery session, and I'll help you understand why a dream is a terrible thing to waste. Go to thedreamcoach.net for more information.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman.
Welcome back to Dream Power Radio. I'm your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman, and we're talking about goals and gratitude and all kinds of positive things with Dr. Dravon James. Dravon, because you're talking about using things like gratitude to shift ourselves away from just thinking about material things and to shift ourselves into thinking about what is it that really, really, really makes us desire and getting down to the core of who we are. How does our life shift when we shift away from just thinking about the material things to shifting more about thinking about our inner goals and desires?
That's a great question. And I tell people and my clients all the time, if you want the pyramid in everyday peace is health, wealth, and relationship. You want better health, you want better wealth, improved wealth, increasing your wealth, improved relationships. The answer to all that is improved self-awareness. So when you shift the goal to you being the goal and self-love and self-awareness being the goal, all those other external things are organically come towards you. They improve in your life, right? But you can improve your income status, right? By working 80 hours a week and diminish your health and diminish all of your relationships. But when you improve, when the goal is, I am going to improve in my self-awareness, I'm going to improve and become an expert at honoring and accepting myself, then you will be so gracious and almost dogmatic, if you will, about improving different things in your life without shame, guilt, or condemnation, that by default, your health improves. By default, your wealth improves. By default, your relationships improve. So when you make you the goal, those other things are easy peasy.
That is wonderful. I want to talk about the idea of the concept of giving yourself permission, because it seems self-evident that if we want to do something, we should be able to do it. But very often, even this idea of, taking that note and writing the gratitude on it, a lot of people will say, yeah, but I can't do that, or they'll find reasons not to do that. So why is it so hard for us to give ourselves the permission to say, I deserve this. This is for me. I need to do this. Why is that so hard for us?
Well, remember, I said earlier that the brain, this lovely machine called the brain, the most advanced piece of machinery on the planet, also the most primitive piece of machinery on the planet, right? So when it goes in to do something different or something new, it asks itself, could this possibly be dangerous? And by dangerous is, do I have any past evidence of being safe when I do even this gratitude card, right? Well, no, I don't. I've not done that before. And I don't know anybody personally who's done that. So I'm not motivated. I won't call it fear. It's just maybe I'm just not motivated to do it. I don't see the point of it. And this is where we get to be the adult in our life. I talked earlier about the inner child, right? But we get to be the adult in our life. And we get to practice this tiny word that we don't like that much, but discipline, right? We get to set a daily practice. I don't know that this is going to work, but I don't know that it's going to fail either. And what I do know is that the effort that I need to put into is so small. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? My mom used to say, prove me wrong. Do it anyway. Do it anyway. Do it for 30 days. Prove me wrong. Do it anyway. After 30 days, and you realize, oh my gosh, I feel better about me. Sometimes I used to save my gratitude cards in the past. Sometimes I don't now, because I've proven to myself that they work, that I am not anxious like I used to be before. I'm not regretful like I used to be before. I'm not overly worried about someone else's opinion of me, like I was before. I still desire to be the best person that I can, but I love myself. I'm aware of myself. I accept myself. I honor myself along the path of improvement. The best me I can be in this moment, not yesterday, not 10 hours from today, in this moment. So discipline is needed. For me, this is how I did it. I've raised 2 children. One will be 21 in a couple of days, and one's 18. And I think about all of the things that they didn't want to do, right? Didn't want to sit on the potty. So glad. I'm sure they're so glad they did that, right? And how I, as their loving mother, gently coach them. This no option. This is what we're going to do. Right? I know you're scared. I know you don't feel like it, right? And we can have that conversation with ourselves, can't we? I know you're scared. I know you don't feel like it. I know you probably don't even believe it'll work, but we've made a commitment to do it. We're going to honor our commitment.
Mm-hmm. And I love also that earlier you talked about the idea of doing it for a certain time period, like 30 days or whatever time period it is. Because if you start off saying to yourself, well, I'm not doing this for the rest of my life, but let me see if I could do it for 30 days, even let's say if I could do it for a week even. And I think you're right that when you do something like that, take something that's new and a little different. By the end of that first week, it doesn't seem so new and intimidating anymore. And you could say to yourself, I can have the discipline to do it because I see that I'm getting results, or I see that it's not that hard. And I think that's so important too, because if you look at it as, oh my God, this is something I've got to do forever and ever, that may stop you before you even start.
Because you're overwhelming yourself. And I love the bite-sized pieces. When I work with my clients, I say, let's just do 5 days of this. Let's just do, some people can't even do 5 days. Let's see if we can do it for 2 days. And we'll take small practice, small times, and remembering to give yourself some type of reward. It doesn't have to be something extravagant that you go out and buy. Of course, it could be, but something small. Give yourself some small reward as a result of doing whatever it is you promised yourself you would do. Because remember, this is for you. This is for your self-growth and development. This is for your happiness. All the money in the world can't buy your happiness, but you're worth happiness, right? And when you practice discipline over these small things, you'll find you are a happier person. You're like, whoa, how did I get here? You got here one step at a time, one elephant, one bite at a time. That's how you got to your next level of greatness.
Well, I want to shift gears a little bit here because the last time we spoke, we were just getting into the thick of the pandemic and everybody was going crazy and just thinking that the world has changed forever and we're not going to be able to get through this. But we're now starting to come out of it. And a lot of people like me and like you, we're saying, no, let's take this time we're doing something totally different. We're staying home. We're not interacting with people. Let's use this time to look within ourselves and see what we can do. Did you follow that advice? And what lessons did you learn from the pandemic?
Debbie, I did follow the advice. I got to tell you that as much as I'm so excited that we have these wonderful vaccine options, that people are being, safe and we're improving. But I'm also a little sad because I feel I'm challenged now. Am I going to be disciplined enough as everything is opened up, like a kid in a candy store, right? Am I going to be disciplined enough to continue the self-love practices that I've started? During this time period, I was able to really discipline my meditation practice to where I wanted it to be. Before, I just, I was once a day and I really want to go to a 3 times a day meditation, right? I call it wraparound love. That's what I wanted to do. And I was able to get there during the pandemic. And even though I still was engaged and, I work in healthcare, as many people know, I'm a pharmacist. I run a hospital pharmacy. So we've been very, very busy. But during that time period, my after work life was such that I was home and I was taking care of me and I was reading more, going back through the Course in Miracles and all, and just being in this place. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So this love of self and that meditation practice for me has been just life altering. So as we open up, that's my challenge. That's my discipline, is to say, hey, Dravon, I realize that there are 1,000 things you could go do right now, but you are worth a few minutes of meditation and self-love.
Well, again, that's taking the time to appreciate yourself and say, I deserve this.
Yes. Yeah. But, we also can think I deserve to be in the mall. I deserve this. But really thinking about how what you're doing right now benefits your long-term goals, right? And even overworking, does it really benefit your long-term goals? If you were more self-aware, maybe you could work more effectively, more efficiently, where all of your time wouldn't have to be spent on an external source, even if it's work that you love, because you need to have what I call harmony in your life. You need to be able to have time for your health, which is sleep and rest, time for your relationship, your family, your friends, your spouses, you, and time for your wealth, a time to work. There's a time for everything. So when you practice self-care and self-love and you prioritize self-awareness, it really does open you up to really balancing out your day. And I like to use the word harmony as opposed to balance, but putting your day in harmony in such a way where at each action, you're getting the most bang for your buck. You're not in there working 13 hours a day and your tongue's dragging on the ground. You have nothing to give to your health. You're not eating right. You're not working out. You're not even drinking water, for goodness sake. And you don't have any time for your family. What's all that money for?
Indeed. Well, Dravon, we just have time for one final question, which is, how can people find out more about you and your work?
Oh, thank you for that question. You can find me on my live radio program every Monday, which is Dr. Dravon James, Everyday Peace. And we air every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on unityonlineradio.org. My website is www.drdravon, D-R-A-V as in victory, O-N, James.com. And of course, I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, under the name Dr. Dravon James. And my book, Freedom is Your Birthright, is available at Amazon.
Wonderful. Well, Dravon, thank you so much for being on Dream Power Radio today.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I look forward to being with you again.
Oh, me too. Well, we've been speaking with the founder of Everyday Peace, Dr. Dravon James. I hope you've enjoyed today's program. If you have, please tell all your friends, follow me, and drop a positive review on your podcast site. And if you're on Clubhouse, join me in my club, Club Dreams, where I host weekly rooms on all aspects of dream work. Until next time, this is Debbie Spector-Weissman saying, sweet dreams, everybody.
You've been listening to Dream Power Radio with your host, Debbie Spector-Weissman. For more information on Debbie or to sign up for her newsletter, go to dreampowerradio.com. This has been Dream Power Radio on the amazing Women and Men of Power Network, the world's leading positive programming network, powered by Raven International.